Let's do it.
Cheers. We are live.
No, it's not. You're live.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. We've got a ton of news. Stacey finally got her socks dried out. And we got a super chat this morning already. We're going to talk about...
Say hi to the super chat. Tell them thank you. Who did this super chat?
Well, I was going to do that in just a second, but
sorry.
I will. Let me do that.
Well, first off, let me just tell you, I was holding my dog in my coat. So I had my arms like this, so I couldn't reach down and get my boot. And my boot got stuck in the mud. And I'm hollering at Chris.
The Shielded Prepper says, this is for a taller pair of boots. Stacey, we all had a good chuckle. I did too. I had a really good chuckle. Have a great day, Taylors. Thank you so much. The Hobo Tographer. God bless you. The two of you are rare find. The love you share for each other and all of us is a true blessing. Thank you so much. That means a lot.
Like
Happy Saturday morning. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm going to attempt to, well, I don't know if I can do it now. Our camera messed up, so I'm having to go off this poor quality camera on my laptop. But bear with us because we do have a pretty good show.
It's just a lot. So we've got a lot of feedback from you guys, and it seems like that you guys really like when we did Saturday morning coffees, kind of do a recap of what happened this week, talk about just different things, and you guys chime in, get in the chat, say what you guys have come across.
Yeah, please do. Let us know where you're from. Make friends in here. Best people on the planet. I would kind of like to set the stage with some notes that I have. It's what we're living through now and where it came from and where we're going. It is quite a bit of reading. Think that'd be all right?
Go for it.
I'll try to do it
and
all
dramatic. Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us good, because we're still working on the audio.
All right, check this out. The history. The brewing battle was set in motion 100 years ago. Britain lost their monetary reserve status in the U.S. after World War II. The Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944 established an international monetary system that standardized currency exchange rates. Currencies were pegged to the dollar, which was pegged against the price of gold. We had sound money. The goal was to establish uniformity to global exchange rates, frictionless trading.
So I want to stop you a second. So if you guys go back in history, every so often, every 50 years, it seems to switch. It seems to become another currency becomes really the big global. So go ahead. And we're at what now? 52 years for America?
52, 53 years. Yeah. Fiat currencies on average last about 50 years. This currency system had a good run for about 25 years. The problem was that the U.S. was exporting so much that their holdings in gold were diminishing rapidly. All right. That was when President Nixon stepped in and closed the gold window, thus ending the gold standard. The dollar was now paper backed by nothing, pure fiat, unconstitutional currency.
I had a guy say the other day that we're backed by because we pay our debts. And I'm like, come on, how can you actually say that? That's the only reason why
he's uninformed. That's all.
I was like, okay, whatever.
Without the backing of gold, the U.S. needed a new vehicle to maintain its global monetary superiority. This is when Nixon, this is where the petrodollar was born, hatched a new plan in 1973, the creation of the petrodollar. Gave the U.S. the monetary power it desired. The agreement between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia set the price of oil in dollars. Going forward, all nations would have to purchase oil in dollars. The king dollar lived on. Behind the scenes, as they prepared to upend the U.S. monetary-led system, when what the heck? Hang on a minute.
You skipped.
Okay, again, repeat. Trade worked well for the U.S. many years. The U.S. military grew along with the U.S. economy. Yet a new problem was cooking. Without the backing of gold, the Fed went on a massive spending spree. The money printing led to massive inflation. This is what we're all living through right now. This may have been manageable domestically with Volcker's interest rates hikes, but our global trading partners were getting the shaft. It goes like this. The U.S. spends about 17 cents to produce a $100 bill, and the rest of the world has to come up with $100 worth of goods and services. So they're getting ripped off. We've been ripping the whole globe off for a long time. This is called the Cantillon effect. Good for the U.S., bad for the rest of the world. The U.S. has been in the business of exporting inflation around the world for half a century. As the U.S. continued spreading inflation throughout the world, they levied sanctions and will ruling by the mantra, play by our rules or else. Nations don't like to be bullied by a superpower. It didn't take long for other nations to begin joining forces and rejecting the U.S. monetary-led empire. So now we've got BRICS. It's crazy big news. I could keep going. Maybe I'll save it, but you guys know what BRICS is. You guys know what's going on. People are starting to deal outside of what makes our currency whole, what makes our currency valid. And it's obvious now. Now we're starting to see people talk about gold and silver on news channels, big news channels. That it's happening a little bit faster every day. So we've got a ton to go through. Do you want me to keep going?
Keep going. It's been a crazy week.
It has. Why don't you go and I'll tell the communist story that was sent to me by Healthy Energy 123.
No, go ahead, because then I might chime in with the Venezuela guy too. We mentioned that again. What are you talking about? And a couple other people that have called in this week. This
is really cool. Thank you for sending me this to ninjanationreport@gmail.com. Guys, if you have not hit the like button, please do. It helps the channel, helps me and Stacey, and I just really appreciate it. But this was the two cowisms. It came out in 1938. It's really worth a listen. The Chicago Daily Tribune in 1938 attributes a version involving socialism, communism, fascism, and New Dealism to an address by Silas Strawn, the Economic Club of Chicago. This is pretty good. Check it out. Here are some of the better two cowisms I've tinkered with.
This is
for
funny.
Them
I saw that. That's
Bureaucracy is number one. You have two cows. The government takes both cows, loses one while giving a cow to people who don't know anything about cows, because that's what the regulations told them to do. All right. Capitalism. You have two cows. You sell one of them and buy a bull. Hey, I like that one. All right. Communism. The problem with capitalism is it turns into crapitalism and cronyism, and it turns into communism. Communism. Now, this is one. There's four of them. You have two cows. The government takes both of them and gives you some of the milk. Communism, two. You have two cows. The government takes both cows. The government sells the milk to the government stores. You can't afford the milk. You starve to death.
That's actually not funny.
Well, no, it's not.
That's
but it's
sad.
It's the truth. Communism, three. You have two cows. The states take both and gives you a little milk once. Communism, four. You have two cows. The government takes both and gives you spoiled milk. And the last one is Cuba communism. You no longer have any cows. You risk your life to escape from Cuba so you can buy some cows and a bull in Miami. Democracy. You have two cows. Your neighbor decides who gets the milk. Capitalism is the only thing that works, guys. All these other things have been tried.
They have been. And I'll just repeat what that guy from Venezuela that called in and said. Literally, I talked to him for almost, a solid hour, 45 minutes. And I wrote down 2 pages of notes. We need to answer questions.
No, I'm going to hit
you guys,
he just
said,
Go ahead.
he said, you guys, he goes, they were some of the richest people in the world. Their land is so amazing. They have so much minerals and so many oil and just different things like that. And he said somebody from, and I forget exactly how it started, but it came from Cuba, and they came over and they said, you need to be more like Cuba. And they voted these people in.
Yeah, because it works so great.
I know it works so great. And he said, and so I'll tell you guys a quote, or about 5 different people that I've talked to this week that have come from different countries. The number one thing they said, besides owning, of course, precious metals and maybe having some cash on hand and stuff like that, some food, they said, you need a passport. And Chris and I have even talked about it. I don't even know where we would go right now if we needed to go somewhere.
But you need that option.
You need an option. And that was how that guy got out from Venezuela, was he had a passport. He had some precious metals. And so he's here in the United States. Unfortunately, he could not get his parents out, and they are still stuck. I think it's either his brother-in-law managed to get out to Peru, but Peru's rough. So they're in Argentina right now. But if you guys know, Argentina's rough right now. But it was amazing. He said Russia and China basically have come in and destroyed Venezuela. The lands, they have mined them. They've taken over everyone's business. They no longer even own their businesses. And I think if you voted, like you said right there, you could get some milk. So if you vote for who they like, they'll bring you a basket of food. If you don't get a basket of food.
That's like the digital currency is going to be.
And he even said,
Chris, you don't get a stimmy if
he said there's animals that's in Venezuela that you'll never see anymore. They're extinct now because they've mined the forest and the earth so much they're gone. So they've come in and destroyed a whole entire country that was absolutely beautiful. I even talked to somebody that actually years ago visited Venezuela, and they said it was a beautiful, gorgeous country, and they've destroyed it.
So
get a passport.
Get a passport. And you mentioned precious metals. The Jewish people escaped Nazi Germany by having gold.
They did.
Venezuelan people got to eat if they had precious metals.
So they did in Cuba.
Yeah. I mean, it performs in this kind of environment, and the masses are waking up. Just turn on the news. Just Google gold prices today or gold rally today or gold whatever, and look how many articles. It's one after the other. Boom, 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 boom. So it's hitting all-time highs. People are really starting to wake up. But I do look for a smackdown. A good old smackdown's coming. Now, let me talk to Neil just for a second. He gave us a super chat. God bless America and everyone here. Be kind, helpful, and grateful. Thank you, Neil. He's in the comments all the time. And thank you to all my moderators. MNJ, Pete's here. Neil, I really appreciate it, guys. You do a really good job. They separate the wheat from the chaff constantly in the comment section. So there's no bad people. You only get to be bad one time, and then you're off the channel. It's just like that. I have that power, have that authority to remove user, and I use it all the time. If you're not here to help, I don't want you here. Thanks, Neil.
Yeah, thank you. I got some boots coming now. I'm excited. I'm going to buy some.
Neil, you got to calm down, buddy. The best thing you can do is invest in you. Skills and knowledge will help you more than anything, in my opinion. I agree.
Yes, it will. Speaking of a stat and stuff like
Thanks,
that.
buddy. That means a lot.
I just pulled up a stat, and it looks like U.S. manufacturing activity slides to a 3-year low. If you look it up, that's how much we are in the United States. We import so much. It's a 3-year low. They said even before COVID happened that we're low on our manufacturing. So
yeah, I've actually got some stuff printed up from that as well.
Okay, go for it.
You better go to the next one.
All right. Well, I want to talk about also U.S. Bank, the lending slumps by most on record in final weeks of March. And you guys, we've been talking about the commercial property off and on, and I don't think a lot is being said about it, but it seems to be hitting the news just a little bit more. We've talked about the malls a little bit and how we think that's going to affect what's going to happen to the malls. You go past these little strip malls, if you see in our area even, it's empty store after empty store after empty store. Things have gone out of business. They're not staying in touch. Go ahead.
No, we're going to talk about household credit debt in a minute. It's skyrocketing, but you were talking about jobs.
Well, I was talking about commercial bank lending. It's dropped. Just the bank lending. And just in the 2 weeks, you guys, it's dropped $105 billion in 2 weeks. That is the most the Federal Reserve data has since 1973. And interesting also, I know that's what I thought too. And not only that, but the number of people that are putting money in the bank, it's 45 billion decrease in the last 2 weeks that people are apparently putting money in the bank. And if you guys know, I talk to you guys all the time. You guys are pulling money out. You're putting it in other assets, hard assets. You're putting it in land. You're putting it in food. You take all the stuff that you guys are buying, generators. You have things that you can actually physically put your hand on. Go ahead.
Buying half sides of cows, extra freezers,
yep.
Solar panels. Bud Light in the comments here. Check out his channel. Should be able to just go to his little tab and click on it. He's got an interesting way to acquire solar panels for almost free. Yeah. We talked about it yesterday. Mm-hmm. Check out, I did a great video on that. Healthcare job cuts. Now, this is really interesting. Up 65% in the first quarter of 2022.
Healthcare job cuts?
22,950
jobs
in the first quarter of 22. All right. Now, to make things worse, a year prior to that, 396%, 270,416 cuts. It's up almost 400%. Do you see that? This is some nutty factors here. let me know if you work in the medical industry. What the heck's going on?
I know I've talked to some of the people, and they said, I talked to actually someone, and they said, and I won't disclose who they are because she asked me not to, but she works at a pretty large firm, and she said they've had a walkout. She said because one, their pensions are getting hit, and she said they're taking what they have and they're leaving. And then there was another one that said the stress and the regulations were too much, and then some of the stuff that they were being required to do, they said went against their beliefs, and yeah, they walked.
M&J said, I see the cuts at Dad's skilled nursing home. Yes, man, the elderly are going to really hurt, guys. Check on them. If you know somebody that probably doesn't have very much, they're going to really hurt as they age. So I don't know what the heck's going on.
I don't either. Hey, Miss Catherine. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Ageless Nerd. I just talked to you yesterday. I recognize your name now.
Okay.
Anyway, so you guys, so a lot of people you've talked about it, that you're not depositing money, you're pulling money out, and they're actually doing an article now. They've actually tracked it, and they actually show that it is legit. Their deposits at U.S. banks have decreased for a 10th straight week. So you think about that, 10 weeks straight, Chris. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
10 weeks straight that the deposits are decreasing. They're scared. The banks, it happened with Silicon, happened with Republic Bank and all that, and they've stopped depositing and they're pulling it out.
Well, that brings me to what happened with Jamie Dimon. Have y'all heard about what Jamie Dimon came out and said?
Yes.
Listen to this. And he says that this isn't anything like 2008. Now, these banks that aren't a big deal. We'll get to that in a second. But Jamie Dimon let his shareholders know that the government should seize private property, all in the name of climate change, says one of the richest people on the planet. The need to align across a series of practical policies changes includes private property seizure, he said. This is a quote from that tyrannical banker. Another quote, at the same time, permitting reforms are desperately needed to allow investment to be done in any kind of timely way. Diamond continued, we may even need to evoke eminent domain. While eminent domain seems like an extreme measure, Diamond justified it by claiming that, quote, we simply are not getting the adequate investments fast enough for grid, solar, wind, and pipeline initiatives.
Okay. I see that. So they're going to come in and take our land because they want to do the pipeline, the electrical grid, and all that kind of stuff. All right, in the name of climate control.
Now, here's where he talks about the banks. As I write this letter, the current crisis is not yet over, and even when it is behind us, there will be repercussions from it years to come. But importantly, recent events are nothing like what occurred during 2008 global financial crisis, which barely affected regional banks. He wrote, in 2008, the trigger was growing recognition that $1 trillion of consumer mortgages were about to go bad. So it's no big deal. These are just small banks failing. It's a big deal. It's a super big deal.
Well, the fact that someone in that position would come out and even just suggest that in the name of climate control or just to support our electrical grid, that you would do it in eminent domain. I mean, that's taking away your rights, your property. Someone actually mentioned that when they called in the other day, and I was talking to them. They said, so, okay, you try to do well, like we've talked about, you try to grow a garden, you try to have land like us, we try to have the pond. That's why we didn't take the government grant or the state grant from the pond, because we didn't want them to have a right, what they were going to say for our pond. But they said, at what point do they possibly just come and take your property? Like just like they did in Venezuela, like they did in Cuba.
It's unreal.
And he even states that.
We're going to start seeing other countries nationalize, this is for the good of the people. Anytime you hear that, it is a red flag. Because these people that run the things don't care about the people. They want all the resources for themselves. Dad, he's in here somewhere. Come around. I want you to tell your story about what's going on in Florida with.
I think he stepped outside the
Yeah, he
shop.
did. He stepped outside. He can come tell his story.
Second.
He's got some real estate in Florida, and he's got some boots on the ground over there, and it's really interesting what's happening all over the place. It looks just like 2006, 2007. You remember when we were driving around, and there was grass in the yards of brand new properties, whole neighborhood, whole subdivisions were just growing up. People, it's bad.
Talking about governments I found an interesting article just here yesterday. I think it was. I was kind of looking through some stuff there because you know how we've talked about that they're trying to regulate if you have a gas stove That's a big deal right now. Even senators and different ones have come out and tried to do a bill against it where you can't limit it, but they're trying to limit if you have a propane stove, a gas stove, a wood burning stove, and all these different things. They are now even going even further in the name of climate, for be eco green, all that, mobile homes. So they're saying that now they're going to require certain restrictions on mobile homes, and it's going to cost thousands of dollars. So I don't know if that means if you turned around and the new ones are going to require it, but if you were to resell one, you guys might want to check into that, because I'm not even sure if someone could get a loan for that, as I know sometimes that does require an issue. So I don't know if you heard about that, but they just actually
No, I didn't.
They just passed some kind of bill. They've either passed it or they're trying to pass it, and because I think it was Senator Scott. Anyway, one of them was up in arms about it, and he said, "Come on, you guys." He goes, "These are mobile homes, and you're gonna increase this much more money on these owners that actually own mobile homes." And anyway, that's another little thing that they're coming down the pipe, all in the name of climate control,
climate change. Yeah, just know it's the new religion. It's called ESGism, is what I've coined it, and all the green weenies worship the oh worshipful master ESGism. And whoever does it the most gets to go higher in the ranking of the WEF. It's pretty much that simple. The WEF is grooming people to run the country, to run the world, and they're all in cahoots. And but they're fighting within as well. You can see that with Russia and all that, and maybe they're in too. I mean, I'm sure they're all in it, but I don't think they all get along.
No, they don't. But they're going to get along to go against the U.S. global the dollar. Hey, Dad,
Hey.
We want you to come tell your story about Florida. He just walked in.
Yep, my dad's here. He's helping me with my
again.
pole barn.
Here, Dad, sit.
We're creating a huge paint booth out of it.
Sit. Here. I'll hop back in.
This is my dad. I bet you can tell.
Hey guys, how are y'all doing?
What was the deal with the real estate you have in Florida?
Well, I bought a small unit, condo unit in Florida in 2010, and that was just right after the crash. And as I was going down there in 2008 and 2009, there were buildings falling in all over the place, units that half finished, and it looked like a war zone just from uncompleted structures. But anyway, I bought one of the last units that was available at that time. And there's just so much building going on now, north, south, you name it, 30, 40 miles away even. New units going up more than 2008. It's incredible. But I'm starting to see more people are coming in from New York, California, and these other states that are concerned with safety and taxes. And I talk to realtors. I'm kind of considering selling mine and possibly buying in later, but I'm just not sure time-wise when I want to do that. Maybe in the next 3 weeks to a month. But
and it could last for the downturn could last for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
it could. And there's been some massive opportunities through history where people sold their properties and moved to gold, and then they moved back into properties, and they did really, really good doing that. Now, I'm incapable of timing anything, but when I do know how to recognize when something's expensive. So that's why we sold our rental properties. And, when gold goes up, we'll buy different hard assets and try to play both sides. But it was really interesting. When I was there, we went down to Florida, and it looked like they were breaking ground everywhere. Everybody was adding on, new houses going up everywhere. There's nothing wrong with the economy is what it looks like. And given, like you said, the wealthy people from these broken states are fleeing to Florida because, they didn't have lockdowns. They didn't have all that garbage. They kept their economy going. And the weather's pretty nice as well. But I just wanted you to hear that.
but on the other side of the coin, I was talking to a friend of mine that has a store there, and they went up hugely on his rent. And he said, I've got to shut down. I've got to close my business because the rent is so high here, and people are renting so far away just because of the demand. So, hey, we'll just see where this is going.
He had a retail business, and he bought in 2008 as well, right?
I think so.
Yeah, he bought in 2008 around that area. He done really well, and he had a retail business that was losing 20% a month.
I'm not sure about that exactly. Yeah.
Is that what you said? Somebody told me that. Yeah, and he said it was time to sell. He thought it was time to sell. So anyway, could be.
But anyway, guys, good talking to y'all. Have a good day, okay?
All right, thanks, Dad. All right, next, the credit card debt debacle looks ugly. People are starting to buy food, pay their rent, necessities on credit cards. We're talking
When I read
average.
that story, I was like, whoa.
Your state's probably on here. We're going to talk about it. The average is 20.19%. That's a really good investment, you know, if you're making 20% on your money. But do you want to get into it?
No, look to see how much it's gone up, because my heart breaks for a lot of these people. Just real quick before we go down this road. I've talked to, as you guys know, a lot of you guys, and it's so awesome to hear your stories where that you've sacrificed and you've made choices that's allowed you to get out of debt, and I applaud you for that. And I think it's amazing because we've done the same thing. But I think a lot of people are going to have to tighten their belts a little bit and say, this is not something I need to purchase. And because the credit card debt's going way up. And we talked about this, and read the stats.
Real quick, Claudia Jones. Hi, guys. I work at a functional medicine clinic, and we are growing so fast. People are looking for root cause medicine. That's amazing. That's what helped her thing.
Yeah,
find the root cause, and you can heal yourself through food. You know, God put everything here that we need to heal ourselves. We just can't eat poison every day. When we figured that out, my wife stopped dying literally and started living again. And now she's symptom free just from diet changes. There's a lot of people that are dying right now, and they've got butterfly rashes on their face, and they've got all these things going on. They just don't know why. They don't know it's the food. So please check that out. I'm being really serious.
There needs to be a lot more of that.
I would like to start a whole channel on that. I love cooking. I love cooking clean and eating good. It makes me feel good. And it just helps everybody that I cook for. They love it. It's just real food cooked right.
And by the way, he's a better chef than I am. I admit that.
One day I would really like I want to be a chef. That'd be fun. But in the meantime, I got to be everything else. All right, guys. Americans' total credit card balance is $986 billion in the fourth quarter of 2022. According to the latest consumer data from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, that is the highest total since the New York Fed began tracking in 1999.
This is where it came in interesting right here.
It marks a $61 billion jump from $925 billion in the third quarter of 22, making it the largest quarterly increase in the report's history.
Okay, read that again. Just a minute. It's a $61 billion jump. $61 billion, you guys, just in one quarter of 2022. That is the largest jump in the history of since they have been tracking this. And that is a heck of a lot of credit card debt. And credit card debt, the interest rates, especially when you're late, one fee, one time, your interest rates are going to go up.
Now, this is 1 through 10, the states that have the most credit card debt. We'll start with number 10. Alaska has $818 in credit card debt. That's pretty good, Alaska. Number 9 is Massachusetts with $8,405. I bet that's wrong. $818.
So it sounds like it's not a lot, but if you're just paying that $25 minimum, you'll never pay it off.
Maryland, $8,463.
Hawaii.
Hawaii, $8,556. I'm just going to make this short. All of them are $8,000 until you get to New Jersey's number 3, $9,000. New York, $9,165, and Connecticut leading as number 1 at $9,408. And that's average credit card debt.
That's a lot.
I can't imagine having $10,000 credit card debt that I paid off once a month. I can't sympathize with you. All I can say is please get out of it. Whatever you have to do, forget the feeling you have when you have money and you got this little debt over here. It's like, I'll just pay on that a little bit. Just go ahead and knock it out. That monkey will be off your back and you won't do it again. And you can tell the story about how you did it, and we'll all praise you together. According to the most recent delinquency, all right, this is where it gets funky because people are owing all this money on credit card debts and now they're not paying.
Yep.
There was somebody in the comments said, I know how to get rid of debt. I just quit paying it. I don't want to be there. All you really need to crush it is a really good credit score and you know,
We need some cash
and maybe a job. You know?
job.
According to the most recency delinquency data from the Fed, the 30-day delinquency rate, or the percentage of total outstanding credit card balances currently at least 30 days overdue, rose from 2.09% to 2.25% in the fourth quarter of 2022. That's the fifth straight quarter of increase, keeping rates above 2% for the second straight quarter. However, delinquency rates are still near historic lows before falling to 2% in the first quarter of 2021. Rates have never dropped below that number since tracking began in 1991. It's a huge difference from what we saw during the Great Recession, when delinquencies peaked at nearly 7% in 2009. So we still got a way to go. Like I said, we're just getting into the Thunderdome. We're just kind of easing off into it. And, I really hope that people don't get that bad. I hope we don't have to use our precious metals. I hope it just sits over there and does nothing, to be honest with you. That would be nice if we're able to kick the can down the road and fix this thing. And the new headline for, 2040 or 2050 says the U.S. leads global prosperity for the, another 20 years. Wouldn't that be cool? But
I don't see that happening. I mean, if you look overseas right now, it's happening, and how France just went to China. I mean, they're supposed to be one of our allies, and they just went to China, made a deal with China with LNG, was the energy. I think there's an energy company. They also just went and they were like, hey, try to use your persuasion to help with the Russia-Ukraine war. So it's just so many things happening overseas. If you just look just to see just the small little glimpse like that, you have to kind of look and go, at some point it's going to kind of have to come back home and roost here. Keep going.
No, go ahead. Go to the next story.
I'm
tired of talking about credit cards.
This is what I've just been noticing, that China is that's what we're having right now. And then, of course, we went to Taiwan, which kind of ramped up we have an issue. Kevin McCarthy, I think, went over there. So now China's starting to do military stuff again. And then we've had Japan, where we're starting to allow them to become, their own defense. And you just got all these countries that are just, it's at a crossroads, and it's something at some point it's going to have to give. And
yeah, the superpowers collide every so often. Ray Dalio did a video, and I thought it was really good. And when they do, usually a war happens, and the other one takes over as the new superpower. But it looks like the BRICS nations that are going to have a commodity-backed currency, not only in gold and silver, probably all commodities, oil and copper and whatever, they're going to back their currency by something hard. So the new superpower could be like a
mixed bag. Is what you're thinking?
Like the SDR, like a basket of countries' currencies backed by commodities. That could be the new superpower. And we're still in the picture. The U.S. dollar's all right. It might be like Jamaican money, where it's 150 to 1 or whatever. But the biggest thing I take away from it is the austerity that's going to come with it. When other countries are getting tired, like it takes $17 to make $100, and the other countries have to come up with $100 worth of goods. That's going to quit happening. So this cheap crap we get from other countries is just going to be more expensive.
I read an article too the other day about all the sovereign debt and all the sovereign that they're struggling right now. And we've put sanctions on so many of these companies that they've had to go, and it used to take like 32 days to rectify it or something, and now it's taking like 172 days. And some of these companies have filed bankruptcy, and Russia just did again the other day. Well, last year, I think, because we placed the sanctions on them, and so they couldn't meet their debt. And so at some point, they're going to band together and go, enough's enough, and we're going around the dollar. They already are doing it. It's just how it's going to affect us. But go ahead. You had some notes there. I think you wanted to talk about.
I was just kind of going to reiterate what BRICS actually does. What is their role? 41% of the world's population, BRICS. 41% of the world's GDP is BRICS. 16% of the world's trade. So, and we can talk about OPEC plus too, and how many, there's 23 different countries going on with that.
Right.
And they're part of the BRICS.
Yep.
You know, this is this is adding up to be one heck of a soup sandwich, if you know what I mean.
Yep. Well, they've been planning this for a while, and it just seems like every time you turn on the news, another country is asking to join, and Mexico just asked to join. It just seems like every time you turn around, Saudi Arabia officially now is, I think, going to be a part of it. I think it's what I read the other day. Or they've applied. I think that was the words that they used, that they've applied.
Okay, before we go any further, I want to let you guys know I did a video yesterday with Bud Light, and it was about applying for the Pandemic Assistance Revenue Program. This could be some free money for some farmers. So he said he filled it out. It hasn't been advertised at all. If you, of course, I don't have the piece of paper I need, but if you lost 15% in the pandemic, they're going to just check it out. I'll put a link in the description, but it could be really cool for some farmers.
Oh, that would be that would be, I haven't heard about that. I have to go and look at the video that you guys did. I hadn't had to get a chance to watch that. Speaking of pandemics and all that kind of stuff, is it New Zealand, I think right now, they're not allowed to kill rabbits. And rabbits, apparently, this is just a really crazy tidbit or thing that I came across. The rabbits apparently are like going rampant. So they're going to release a virus to kill the rabbits in New Zealand because they're not allowing them to kill them. That's what they came out and said. In New Zealand, I'll look it up real quick. In New Zealand, they're not allowed to kill right now the rabbit. So they're going to introduce a virus.
This is crazy, guys. It's always do the wrong thing.
Yeah, unable to shoot rabbits this Easter. So New Zealand is they're going to do a virus to fight because apparently they're multiplying left and right.
Why can't they eat them?
They're not allowed to kill them for some reason. They have said they cannot kill them, but usually there's a ban on because usually they kill them around this time of year and they process them or whatever, and they've come out and they've done a ban on it. So they're going to release a deadly virus to try to kill. Man, that to me is a little bit scary because if you do something like that and then next thing you know, it'll say, oh, then it's now to a human contact. So I don't know. It's just one of those little crazy articles thing I come across, and I just kind of put in the back of my head and just kind of keep an eye on. But
M&J sent me a question, one of you guys' question that I missed because they're going by pretty fast. Would either of you think that some other major country can request an audit of the U.S. gold vaults, being all the global economic happenings of the last year and in present time? Okay. I don't think they would ever do that. I don't see it. They might have to one day. They might, say, hey, prove it, show me.
Well, we're not backed by it though anymore. So why would we have to show it? There wouldn't be a reason for us to show it. Right.
Well, I mean, they could say, hey, if you want to play,
oh, okay.
You got to show what your currency's backed with.
So if you'd like to be part of the BRICS, then we want an audit of what you actually have. Okay.
Look, I don't think it's going to go like that. I think it's going to go more like USA is over here and they're doing their thing. We've got this thing, and you deal in this. And, just like we don't use other people's money, we use our money. And I think we're going to use ours, and they'll set up some kind of swap line to deal in the BRICS currency. But as far as an audit on the gold, it could be a bunch of moths and spider webs in Fort Knox. We just don't know. It hasn't been audited in a long time.
Yes, I think that's correct.
There was Bud Light mentioned the 17 animal shelters are shut down in Oklahoma and not allowing any adoptions because of some type of virus going through the shelters.
That's happened ever so often. I've heard of that, but 17, that's a lot. I've heard of like 1 or 2 at a time, but 17, that's a lot. So it kind of makes me think that like a parvovirus or something. I don't know. But when you get those viruses like that, yeah, even vets, we've had to be careful before if you go to certain vets. But
okay, I want to move on to precious metals and what's going on with Texas. Texas is trying to show out. Missouri's doing it. There's several. I think there's like 14 different states that are saying, hey, you can pay your taxes in gold. That's kind of the first step. After they do that, they can start holding it because a lot like Missouri's wanting save like 1% of their revenue in precious metals, which I think is cool. And I don't expect anybody here to trade their precious metals for taxes. I expect you to give fake fiat currency. But just keep in mind that's a step in the right direction, and this Texas bill is too. Texas bill would create state-issued gold-backed digital currency. So we got gold and digital currency all in the same thing.
I read that.
So all you crypto haters, there you go. Enactment of this legislation would create an option for the people to transact business in sound money, setting the stage to undermine the Federal Reserve monopoly on the money and create a viable alternative to a central bank digital currency. This is really cool. This is what I was hoping for. I've said that many times. I hope that we come up with a gold-backed digital currency backed up on the blockchain. You know, I don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is. I don't know if it was the government. I don't know, what's Bitcoin, who's all got it. Why don't we just have one that's backed by gold and, that be the end of it. But it looks like that's what Texas is trying to do. Mm-hmm. In establishing the digital currency, the comptroller shall establish a means to ensure that a person who holds the digital currency may readily transfer or assign the digital currency to any other person by electric means. The state of Texas would hold gold backing the currency in trust on behalf of the digital currency. Quote, the trustee shall maintain enough gold to provide for the redemption in gold of all units of the digital currency that have been issued and are not yet redeemed for money or gold. There's a ton here. I just don't want to read too much to you guys, but a gold-backed digital currency would create an alternative and allow individuals to avoid the CBDC. So I'm in. Louisiana, step up. Let's go.
Yep. I just saw that one right there, came across there, but read it. Okay.
CBDC comes online. Have you ever heard they will restrict purchases of precious metals? No, I haven't yet, but I figured that, bud.
Well, he's just responding to a previous question that was asked, but he's just helping us out here.
Okay.
Somebody else asked that. So first off, I kind of want to explain how. Do you mind if I interrupt?
No, go ahead. But first,
so
it'll probably be in the form of a tax.
But here's the thing: is they're going to have to figure out a way to report it. As of now, if you order through Miles Franklin, I do not report it. So unless they come and audit your bank, because you guys ask me that a lot, you're like, is there a way? No, I don't report. Miles Franklin does not report it. So the only way that I can figure out that they would know that you purchase precious metals is, well, one, if you do have to pay taxes, then obviously there's a few states that still has to pay taxes. But I guess if they came and audited your bank account and they asked you what was this purchase for, or they came and audited Miles Franklin's bank account and their records, we don't report it. So unless you reported it, or if you went to sell it, now it's another thing that you guys have asked me also, and I've tried it. And when you go to sell it, that's another thing that you're going to have to try to figure out at that point, if there's any kind of reporting. I think if you stay below a certain amount, certain items. But anyway, Miles Franklin does not report it.
It's on a lot of people's mind right now because we know how evil the government is. But what's the other option? What do you do? You buy land, they're going to tax the hell out of you on that too. And there's always, I lost all mine in a boating accident.
That's what I said.
Excuse me. I don't ever plan on giving up my precious metals. I'm going to give them the lead first.
No, but just so you guys know, you do ask me that a lot. And I actually have that in writing, and it's on our, for an ACH, a wire transfer, we do not report it. That's the reason why I think a lot of the reasons, one, they start doing credit cards because one, they do track it, and two, there is a fee. But no, we do not report it.
So, do you have any deals going on? Do you have any?
We have no deals.
Yeah, there's no deals.
We have no
The
specials.
deal is if it's available, that's a deal.
It's a deal.
That's the best.
Silver spot's $25.15. Gold is $2,015.50. And of course, it'll stay that way till the market opens tomorrow at 5 p.m. I will be working today. I will not be working tomorrow. I can get most items, as I sent most of you guys that are on my list this morning an email. I can get most items, but you guys just hang with me. You're looking at 6 weeks, probably getting a lot of these items at this point. We have trucks coming in, but that's kind of that's where we're standing.
With the most exciting thing about what's going on in the precious metal space right now is I know, just like you guys figure, or we don't know anything, but I know what happened in the past. When it creeps up, it gets smacked down. Jamie Dimon's going to hit it with his big rubber mallet, and it's going to do this. But now we're starting to see a supply and demand crunch that's separating from the paper prices.
Yep.
And I say it all the time, but I want to say it again because I don't want anybody on here to think they have gold in the stock market. You don't actually have that. That's a derivative, and there's probably more than 300 people that own the same ounce of gold. You'll never get it delivered. That's it. Mm-hmm. You'll get currency. So take that risk off the table and own it yourself. Put it where you want to put it. Hold it in your hand, keep it in your pocket, whatever you want to do. But it's interesting because when we see this knockdown, I know what our investors do. They buy more. Every time it dips, Stacey gets super busy. See, before, when the price would go up, people would start buying. But now it seems to be kind of like the opposite. Would you agree?
No, probably not. It's stayed consistent for about a solid year.
So down
it doesn't
and up.
matter. Down and up.
Okay.
People are concerned about what's going on in the market. And then, of course, when the banks happened the other day, prices have gone up. It was $18 in October last year. And I'm actually busier than I am, and it's $25 now for silver. So I can't necessarily can agree with that. And
silver's fixing to rip.
Even Andy came out the other day. His dad, remember the newsletter, the letter that I was reading, the email that we did.
Yeah,
his dad said it was the busiest that they've ever seen it, and prices are actually up. Availability's down. And somebody just commented on there, and they said that you guys, I think, were at Albuquerque and that you bought in New Mexico, and they did not charge you taxes. That is awesome, because if I remember correctly, I have to look at my list, but I think we have to charge taxes in New Mexico. So I applaud you guys. If you can find places like that, you don't have to pay taxes and you don't have to pay shipping, hey, go for it. If you ever want to call and just say, Stacey, compare the spot price to see if you're getting a decent deal, you're not getting ripped off. I love it. I just saw Catherine also said that something about she wants to smack down too, because Dan allegedly talks about that a lot. And Catherine, I'm with you. I'm ready because I want to buy more silver. And so I've been trying to catch some of the comments as we go along.
Yeah, Johnny Bravo and the Economic Ninja did a video
with
about the price of silver. And Johnny's really good at reading charts, and he's done it forever. And he actually drew a circle on the chart, and the silver price went exactly in the middle of that circle, and that hit his line where he said it's probably going to take a dip. And towards the end of the video, they were saying it's only going to do that so many times. It's going to run. And there's somebody in here saying, yeah, what's it done over time? I can tell you what fiat currency's done over time. It's lost about 98% of its value.
We need to find
that's what you need to. That's what the disconnect.
We need to find that video that with Mahoney and David Morgan did the other day, and they talked about the history of it back in the 80s, where it settled around the $20 mark. And they said if you go based on that, because like the year before it was $3, and then it went way up, and then it settled at 20. And based on their theory, which is a really interesting video, I need to find that. And it showed that they think it's going to go up above $100 and something. Whether it does or not, I don't know.
Oh, absolutely it will. It's the only asset that hasn't moved.
Well, they
it
say
will. We just don't know when.
They said it's going to settle to the $20 mark for the longest, around 120.
The price of milk one day will be $100. Fiat currencies die 100% of the time. Every time they do not live, they will. Our currency will be in the fiat currency graveyard one day. Period. Full stop. End of story. If history has anything to do with anything, that's what we learned. That's what we know for sure.
It's true.
There's no way around it.
It is.
Fiat currencies die. Here we are, year 53. They usually live 50 years. Everybody's talking about gold and silver, and it still hasn't moved like it's supposed to. Gold should be closer to $10,000 an ounce, but we've got derivatives and Jamie Dimon and all this other stuff going on. And they control what people use every day in transactions. That people use this money, and when they see it going up and the price of gold going down, they talk themselves out of it. The whole population has been talked out of owning precious metals, which is good for us. Be a contrarian, assume broken clock status, and be right later on. And most people that have been buying since I've been talking about it, I'd say everybody that's been buying since I've been talking about it's up right now.
Yeah.
If you've been buying food like we've been talking about, you're up.
Yep.
If you've been buying precious metals, you're up. If you rolled your IRAs into self-directed over, back when I started talking about it, when Jeff Bezos was and Elon Musk was selling their stock, you've done really, really well. Congratulations. Because, it's hard to talk like that on camera.
Did we
Because
miss a
nothing's
super
for
chat?
sure.
Sorry.
Not yet. It's not going away.
Okay.
Nothing's for sure other than what we absolutely know for sure, and
Yep.
that is fiat currencies die. Let me check out my super chat here.
Oh,
Ortwine
hey,
International. Andrew, for some Jamaican coffee.
Heck
I didn't buy any
yes.
Jamaican coffee.
We almost did. When we were at the airport, we almost bought some Jamaican coffee and brought it home.
We got to be, hey, here's a health tip for you guys. If you have lupus or know somebody that does, it could be as simple as the coffee you drink.
Yes, it can.
Stacey has to drink a certain coffee, and it's 8 o'clock for now. 8 o'clock coffee, she has no problem with. I made one of my personal favorites, which is Community Private Reserve.
Yeah.
Whole bean, grind it. After you grind it, it goes bad quicker. And she got sick the other day. We were able to do some activated charcoal, and it knocked it out. That's another awesome tip.
Yes.
If you eat something and she calls it simmering.
You feel your body simmering. And you guys know the symptoms. We've talked about it before. But I'm telling you, this charcoal stuff, we actually learned it from American Prepper Girl.
Thanks, Andrew.
And oh my
Good
goodness,
bomb.
that actually stuff, it worked in about 45 minutes. It knocked it out. And I'm so thankful. So I travel with that stuff now. Wherever we go, I put it in the bag with me. But it even laughed because it made my lips kind of black a little bit. And you had to kind of wash it off. But it's literally charcoal you put in water and drink it.
Yeah, and it worked.
Yeah.
Instead of being sick for 8 or 10 hours, she felt better in an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
huge.
That's life changing.
Yeah.
So if you have trouble with coffee and it makes you feel funny, try to go to a whole bean. 8 o'clock works for us.
And if you eat something and it doesn't settle well with you, do that charcoal stuff. That was amazing. I'm so thankful.
Okay, Stacey, what is the best size to buy for trading for food and supplies? Can't make
Buffaloes,
change from
hand
1
down.
ounce silver. Wait a minute. You can't make change for 1 ounce silver. I would say junk.
No, it's too expensive. The premium.
Oh.
If you're just trying to
What
go
about
best bang for
What about the Comey bars?
I'm out. I can't even get those right now.
See?
So I tell people all the time, I'm like, and they just went up to $4.40. I just sent out the list this morning. Premium, I'll have to look real quick. Premium was at $11.75. Let me see what it is right now for my junk. Hold on. I'll tell you. I think it went up again. Yeah, they just went up again. I'm at $12.25 over for my premium just for the junk. It's you're paying, when I last did the math, you're paying $6.50 for a quarter. I believe that was correct. I can run the math real quick for you. But that's expensive. So if you're just trying to get best bang for the buck, Buffaloes are still, you can almost beat the junk silver with the Philharmonic still.
Yeah, so.
And I'll run the numbers.
That's a bummer. I like junk silver. But, I mean, it's good for people that already have it, but I was kind of wanting some more. I really hope it does pull down one more time. I would love for silver to go where Johnny Bravo said it. He said it's going to go towards 17. That would be amazing. I feel like we all need to be accumulating as much as possible. That means hard assets, precious metals, food. This is accumulation phase. This is the calm before the storm. And I really would hope for a good pullback, but it looks like the premiums are going to eat up whatever discount there is. So,
well, real quick, I'll just tell you, if you buy a quarter right now, you're going to pay $6.69 for a quarter.
Whoa.
That's how much it's gone up.
Okay.
So
if congratulations, you guys buying junk silver.
Yeah, if you just buy $1 face value right now, so if you buy 4 quarters or 10 dimes, you're going to pay $26.74. And I mean, here's my prices. There's just no hidden secret. But yeah, so I tell people, I'm like, Buffaloes are, and the bad thing is though, Buffaloes, you're 6 weeks out getting them.
Yeah, that's another thing. Delivery times are getting longer. It's supply and demand. It's that simple.
Yep,
you've been working from 8 in the morning until 9, 10 at night. And
nights.
that's no long lunch breaks, and it's wide open.
He's been feeding me.
Yeah.
He opens the door and hands my food.
It's like an inmate.
And he shuts the door. And I just keep working. But I'm trying to get to as many as you guys can because I know that spot price has been going up, and I'm trying to get you locked in if you want to get locked in, or if you just need to find out what the prices are. So you guys have been so patient. You've been so amazing. I know a few of you guys I've let slip through the cracks, and I'm like, oh, shoot, and I'll call you back. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm actually owe somebody a phone call right now.
Absolutely. Jigga-jack, strike,
What
If
did they
junk
say?
silver $6.69 for a quarter, next year quarter could cost you $20.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean it's worth what people are willing to pay.
Well, and there's limited. We're struggling right now to find people that will sell back to us.
Just wait until it really runs, and when they can't paper it over anymore. When last year we mined 22 million ounces of silver. That's it.
Yep.
It's tiny.
Yep.
It's a tiny market cap. That's what we really have to wrap our minds around. It's like somebody big, like somebody like Warren Buffett could buy it all up. And then where would we be? You know, people need it. And they, you know, as the currency's crashing, I mean, we've been involved in space for a long time, but there's been people like David Morgan. I got his book right there. Good friend of mine. He's been, you know, dealing with this Fed kicking the can for a long time. And I think we're just starting to get a break away from that. And that's it. Only reason I see it so well is because I see what's going on behind the scenes with her business, selling it every day. And it has really been eye-opening.
It has been. And some of you guys comment, you'll say, hey, you know, you go to these coin shows or these coin collectors, or you can get it same day. I'm like, hey, I don't blame you at all. Go for it. You will not ever offend me doing that.
So today is our favorite time of the show, or right now.
Yes, we're going to do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
We don't talk about this. We just give silver away on a whim.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it in a video. I want to do it where the live stream goes.
Okay.
So you get to pick the hashtag this time.
Hashtag. What do I get to pick? Junk silver. Hashtag junk silver. And
Hashtag junk silver. We'll give you junk silver.
You want to give junk silver? I have to even find it. You have to go to our location and pick it. I don't even have any on me.
I got some.
Okay.
I got a couple quarters I use for.
Oh,
I got
okay.
a quarter on the anvil.
There you go. We'll do junk silver. We'll give some junk silver away.
Nope. I'm going to give you. I went all the way to Bernice, Louisiana to get this $50, 1964. And the lady was selling some coins that she would not let go of. She was it was a wasted trip. And I said, well, before I leave, I want to buy one piece of silver because I drove all this way to buy your silver and you don't want to let go of it because you think it's worth something that it's not. So I bought it and she was, I had to rip it out of her hand. And then she texted me later wanting me to send her a picture of it because she thought I ripped her off.
It was funny. Yeah.
So
Premiums
I went through
high.
a lot to get this for somebody.
Premiums are high on $50. They're even higher than junk. They're like $17, $18, some of that stuff. So yeah, that'll be cool. Let's give that away. Hashtag junk silver.
At 60 minutes, we'll give it away. You can put hashtag junk silver as many times as you want. Thank you guys for playing along. Thank you for being here. It's such a blessing to be in front of you guys. And I had no idea that junk silver was ripping like it was.
Yes, it is. Yes, and the problem is, it's just that's getting it in. And just so you know, a lot of the stuff that's on my price sheet that I send out, and it'll say backdated or predated. I no longer have those. I pretty much only have 2023s. That is it, coming straight from the mint. Matter of fact is, I don't think I did in the last year and a half. I had one person that wanted to sell. He wanted to, and that was because he was getting shipped overseas and he did not want to take it with him. And so he was going, and he didn't want to leave in a vault. He did not want to pay the vault fee. So he actually called and sent it. He said he was either going to transfer it to gold, his silver, or he was just going to sell back. And I put him in touch with some people that were going to help him, whatever. But yeah, that's it. In a year and a half, one person sell back.
I'm not sure what we're going to do if we get somebody from Israel or something like that. I don't know.
Well,
we've got subscribers all over the world, and guys, if you're in here, make friends. I'm serious. Make some contact. This is going to be very valuable one day. This platform might not be here for people that talk truth, for people that talk, real things that happen, and at least you'll have a list of people that you think you can trust. And if you ever get a chance to come to a meetup or an event, you're going to meet some really cool, like-minded people. And when you meet them, you're going to hear a resignation, just like you hear in that it's junk silver. And you'll know you've got somebody in your corner. So I just want to lay that out there because it's always a blessing to meet you guys.
Yep, it is. And when you guys call in, it's another. And I actually will put you guys in contact with other people. They'll say, "Hey, do we
We've
have
done
someone?"
that several times.
Yeah, do we have somebody that knows someone in this area or whatever? And you guys, just one more side note, and we're going to draw a name in just 5 seconds. But
well, before we get there, hang on to your side note. The Shielded Prepper said, "Great show today. Thank you so much, guys. Check out the Shielded Prepper. He's a good, godly man, and he's doing an awesome job on his channel. Check out Bud Light as well. He's throwing out side hustles all the time.
He is.
So, Shielded Prepper, thank you so much for being there in the comments. Thank you for the super chat. And now it is time to give."
Real quick, before you do that, one more thing. Sorry, I
almost
also do
catch
real
on.
estate, and so I've also been putting other people in touch with other real estate agents. So if you're a real estate agent, let me know. And because I just put someone else in touch with someone else the other day. A girl had just started a real estate license. I talked to her mom. Anyway, so just reach out to me, and I've been keeping a database. And if I know someone in that area, go ahead. Sorry.
That's perfect. Well, I'm gonna select the comment.
You're gonna scroll up and down.
I'm gonna scroll up and down. And
okay, can't look at it.
I can't look.
All right.
Let me go all the way to the top. The junk silver top.
I think you're there.
And then I'm gonna go down.
Okay, down.
Up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Right here. Homestead Hopeful. Junk silver. Homestead Hopeful.
That name rings a bell. Have I talked to you? Because that name, I'm positive I've talked to you.
So all you have to do is send me an email.
Send me an email, staylor@milesfranklin.com, or text me or call me at that number, and I'll get that to you. Drop it.
All right, Homestead Hopeful. I hope you got it. Can I get some confirmation here? We got Homestead Hopeful. Thank you. All right, cool. Just text your email address or call that number, and we'll get it to you. All right, guys. Thank you for being here and spending your Saturday morning with us. Have an awesome, awesome day. We'll see you in the next one. Later.